Hey folks, welcome to our last part of Chapter 1, Introduction to Psychology. The last lesson was devoted entirely to the correlational method and wraps up the descriptive research methods. Now we move on to the experiment, which is in a category all its own. This is the only research method we can use to try to make a cause and effect statement. As useful as naturalistic observation, case study, and the survey methods are, we cannot make a cause and effect statement. Only with the experiment do we have that potential. So let's design an experiment. We're going to study new headache medicine and see if it works on college students. We put out an announcement that we're seeking chronic headache sufferers to take part in a research study on treatment. When people respond to the invitation, we'll do a phone interview, and the first 30 subjects who are medically cleared to participate will be accepted. The subjects, one by one, come to the campus nursing clinic at a scheduled time. Each is given a pill, and they're told it should be helpful to reduce their headache pain. He or she is then taken to a darkened room in the back and told to lay down on a sleeping cot for a while. The room is cool, it's dark, and it's free of outside noises. That's important. After approximately 1 hour, the nurse returns, and she asks you to rate if and how much headache pain has improved. Experiment over. If people generally reported that they improved after the pill, then we can say that the medicine was beneficial. Or can we? Not so fast. Have you ever had a headache and after relaxing a few minutes in a dark, quiet room, your headache went away? Just about everybody can identify with that, can't you? How do we know that that's not what happened in our experiment above? How do we know that people didn't get better simply because they expected to get better? These are important questions that need to be addressed, and a well-designed experiment is going to do just that. There are several important terms to go over when conducting an experiment. The independent variable, and I'll go over definitions, and we'll see how they're represented in our experiment. Dependent variable, placebo effect, experimental group, control group, random assignment, and the double-blind technique. An independent variable is something we manipulate, we control it, and we hope to demonstrate that it will cause a change effect in some other variable. What is the independent variable in our experiment? It would be what we gave to the subjects, wouldn't it? That is our independent variable. The dependent variable is the outcome or the result, and we hope to demonstrate that it is dependent on the independent variable. What was the dependent variable in our experiment? It would be headache relief, wouldn't it? But what about the placebo effect? This is when the subject's response is due to expectation and not due to the treatment or the independent variable. This has to be controlled for, or it could possibly ruin our research, and we might not be able to make a cause and effect statement. So here's what we do. We split our 30 subjects into two groups, the experimental group and the control group. The experimental group receives the real headache medicine. The control group is not exposed to the independent variable, and they receive a placebo. Now, a placebo pill in this experiment looks and tastes just like the real headache pill, but it contains no medicine. We must randomly assign our subjects so that they have an equal chance of being in either the experimental group or the control group. Finally, the research has to be double-blind. We've taken great care to ensure that the subjects didn't know what level of the independent variable they were receiving. That's called single-blind. But the researcher who passes out the pills, they can't know if they're real or if they're not real either. Because try as they might, their body language, just the look on their face could influence. It could send a signal unconsciously to the subject. We have to control for this. And that's why they cannot know what's real and what's not real. That is called double-blind. So at the end, this is now a well-designed experiment. If the experimental group reports more pain relief than the control group, we can conclude that the headache medicine caused the effect of pain relief because we've controlled for the placebo effect with random assignment. We've controlled other variables by having an experimental group versus a control group, and we've controlled for experimental bias by the double-blind technique. Also, we've taken steps toward the fourth goal of psychology, influence. Remember, this is the only research technique with the potential to make a cause and effect statement. All the other descriptive methods are very useful, but the experiment is the Rolls-Royce, it is the Cadillac in research. And by the way, experiments are not done that often in psychology because, as you can see, it involves a lot of stuff here and it's expensive and time-consuming. They're all very useful. Well, that's all for now. I'll see you next time in Chapter 2 when we talk about biology and behavior. Later.